Hi, my name is Daniel Cox. I'm going to discuss a case study in giving voice to values called the tax return. In this case study, Brenda, an accountant, is confronted by her boss over treatment of lottery winnings in the tax return of a major client. Brenda included those winnings as income to the client, even because that's the law. That's what she's supposed to do. In her mind, it made no difference because gambling winnings can be offset by gambling losses that are supported and substantiated, and the client had sufficient losses throughout the year to offset the winnings. So in her mind, it was a zero net effect. The problem is that deduction for gambling losses is only available if the taxpayer itemizes deductions. In this case, the client was taking the standard deduction, so those lottery winnings are not going to be offset by losses, even though those losses occurred. Brenda's employer or boss has hinted strongly that the income should be omitted from the client's tax return, saying this is a one-time request, and mentioning that the firm puts value in staff members who are willing to be flexible in such situations, and even mentioned that other staff members in similar situations have been loyal to the firm, sort of an everyone does it type argument. He wants to meet with Brenda in the morning to discuss the situation. So what should she do? What are her alternatives? In looking at Brenda's ethical dilemma, we're going to discuss Kohlberg's 6 stages or more of development. Lawrence Kohlberg is a noted psychologist who theorized that as a person develops throughout their life from childhood to adulthood, their moral reasoning also develops along the line of a series of hierarchical steps or stages in cognitive thinking and development that will characterize the way they think about moral issues. So Brenda can choose to go along with her employer. She can give in to his rationalizations and omit the income. This would be expected if Brenda is operating at stage 1, 2, or 3 of Kohlberg's hierarchy. Stage 1 is a person acting out of a sense of self. What's the best for me? Stage 2, they're acting out of a sense of obedience to a boss or a superior. Stage 3, they're acting out of a sense of loyalty, possibly to the firm at this point. Or Brenda can choose to stick to her guns and insist the income be included. This would be typical of a stage 4 response. In stage 4, one realizes stage 4 apologize. The duties to society and to uphold the law is what controls a person, what the person is controlled by. She might even do this in the face of losing her job, thinking it's her duty to do so in the best interest of society and not violating the law. If she's operating at stage 5, Brenda will weigh her options, her alternatives, based on what's best for the different groups impacted by this. The decision might be good for her employer, which will help her fellow employees. They'll be more stable in their jobs. She's realizing at stage 5 that her decisions impact more than just herself. Others are impacted as well. She's going to weigh this against realizing that by omitting the income and violating the law, she's putting the firm at risk and the potential damage to the firm. She's going to weigh these against each other. At stage 5, she'll probably decide that the negative consequence or negative outweigh the positive, and choose not to sacrifice her ethical standards or public duty, public trust. Assuming that Brenda believes her employer's assertion this is a one-time thing, that will affect her decision based on what stage she's operating at. If she's at stage 1, 2, or 3, your employer insisting this is a one-time thing will probably convince her to omit the income she's going to give in. If she's operating at stage 4 or 5, it likely won't might make a difference. In addressing the rationalizations and reasons given by your employer for omitting the income, the first rationalization was that everyone's doing it. All the employees are doing this. My response to that would be, I'm sorry you have employees who are willing to sacrifice their ethics in this situation. I'm not. The potential damage to the firm could be staggering, not to mention my own licensing. As the argument this is a one-time thing, I would probably point out that if there are other employees who have been loyal to the firm in similar situations, it probably doesn't sound like such a one-time thing. It sounds like this has probably happened before. And even if it hasn't, even if this is a one-time thing, you're asking me to violate the law, which I'm not going to do. I would probably suggest that we calculate the client's taxes using the itemized deductions, see how it comes out. It might be more beneficial, might be close enough that it doesn't make a big difference to recognize the income and thereby not violate the law. The last question in this case study moves on to year 2. We assume that Brenda gave in year 1 and omitted the income. She gave in to her employer's wish to omit the income, his one-time request. Now in year 2, the client himself has come to Brenda and has a $4,950 gambling tournament poker winning that he has not reported because it's beneath the threshold of $5,000 for a Form W-2G, which is a gambling reporting under which the party paying those gambling winnings is supposed to report the winnings. Since it was below, he wants to ignore the winnings and wants Brenda to ignore the winnings. Again, her employer is pressuring her to not report the income. My response at this point would be, this is no longer a one-time thing. Actually, if I was Brenda, there wouldn't be an issue because I wouldn't have omitted the income in year 1. But assuming I had, my response would be, this is no longer a one-time thing, and I can't be a party to it. And frankly, if my employer is willing to violate the law so blatantly, I probably don't need to be a part of it. I don't need that stress or the guilt. I might suggest again that we recalculate the client's taxes using an itemized deduction, see if it makes a difference, see if we're close enough to recognize the winnings without violating the law. But if my employer insists on blatantly violating the law, I would either ask to be removed from the case or resign or both. Thanks.